Okay, all right, so I will call the August 19th, 2020.
I didn't mean to do that. Truly, I didn't. Yeah, I can set it on silence. Do not disturb. An alarm goes off next time.
I will call the August 19th, 2025 Economic Development Commission meeting to order at 6 o'clock. We have a quorum. Any questions or changes needed for the agenda?
Move forward with it.
Okay, so do we actually need a motion? Can we just if we're doing Robert's rules, we have to have a motion. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as.
So moved.
Fair second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved. Meeting notes for July of 2025. They were sent out ahead of time. I will take a motion, I will entertain a motion to approve the notes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay. All right, Commissioner's Corner. Melissa, we'll start with you today.
I don't have anything at this time other than, I knew about the auction, that was happening for Rebuild Market. Just the businesses seem like it's just slow, everywhere. It just seems very slow. But other than that, I don't have anything at this time.
Dan?
It was a really neat encounter. Calio has a new business, and I'm bubbling because she's the cutest young lady I have ever met. She's just really got an entrepreneurial spirit. It's called the Tiny Tailgate. If you guys have come through Calio, where the brewery is, it looks like a little hot dog wagon like you would see in Washington, D.C. And I was coming back from driving the Amish the other morning, and I stopped in there because it was open. And I, just started ordering some stuff to patronize her. And then, as I was talking to her, I welcomed her and said that, told her about the Economic Development Commission, and, was glad to see, someone's wanting to start, a little startup business. And she's, it was, to me, guys, it was just refreshing. She's probably in her very mid 20s at the latest. This is her first business endeavor, and it's just really, she actually, the food was great. I had a mocha latte that was handmade there that was really good.
Awesome.
And I also had a smoothie it was a peach smoothie that was all made beautiful. But anyhow, wish her the best. She does really well. Hope people patronize her and everything. But it's again, in the midst, like Melissa said, things being slow, everywhere in the Northern Neck, it's just fortifying that there's still some souls out there still trying to make it happen, That's it.
That's great.
Did you get a contact for her?
I did. There's her business. I'll show you the business card, Bob, but there's no phone number on it, but it's the cutest little business card that she made for herself. It's really cute.
Perfect.
Excellent. So, Melissa, you may have already had contact, but I was approached by someone the other day about potentially getting a grant or a loan from the county to start the business in Burgess that they want to start. So I told her, go ahead and fill out the application and send it in. I know we're in the process of redoing the application, but there's no reason to wait to get it done, to entertain that. So that was exciting that that's moving forward. And
What business in Berkeley?
it's the daycare.
Is it a daycare, did you say?
That's what from what she was talking about in the board of supervisors meeting, that's what I thought it was.
Oh, that's
It's gonna
cool.
be a daycare.
Yeah.
So if I'm wrong, then I apologize in advance, but that was good that she obviously knew about the loan process.
Yeah.
So, make sure that, I said, look, just turn it in. So that was good news. And in terms of anything else for my district, I think that's probably, unless I'm missing something, that's probably the highlight for now.
I'm going to be quiet this time.
Okay. All right. On to Bob.
Couple things. So we've gone through the Main Street review. I hope you had a chance to look at the comments. One of the things we'll probably have to have in our next huddle is what we want to do with the Main Street document. So I appreciate any comments you guys have put inside that. Part of the things that the Main Street document will be able to reinforce is what's inside a comprehensive plan, which was my next topic. That's posted in our shared drive, working drive, not unofficial drive. I did start putting comments on the different chapters. I did read in there that one of the things, way to go, Mr. Johnson's, they put in, considering a Main Street type of capability within a comprehensive plan. Look at Heathville directly as a potential area. That's a great thing. On the side note of Main Street, when I went to the Northern Planning District Commission meeting, it was up in Colonial Beach, and Colonial Beach has gone through, in my opinion, a pretty big transformation.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why is they've gone through the Main Street program. So, it's a really good, if you can, a really good coaching tool for accounting to be able to look and see how you progressively get towards that direction. And they kind of help walk you along the process. So I think we're going to make some good progress today. And if it doesn't work, at least we tried and we did the legwork for it.
So before you move on then,
Yes.
action for the, when we have our next leadership huddle, but the action for the group is, please make sure that you've looked at the plan if you have any questions or any comments, because the next step is going to be for us probably, I'd like to put it out on our site so that people can take a look at it and throw in some comments. We can get some traction perhaps that way. And then in the,
That's for the Main Street?
yeah.
Yep.
So we'll talk about, but I think not in the September meeting, but either the October. I'd like to make sure that before the end of this calendar year, we take action on either moving forward with that or killing it.
Okay.
So that means all your comments, take a look at it. If there's any other questions, we'll need to discuss it in September. We can either vote on it in October or November. Actually, no, if we can put it out for, just a quick look by the community, once this group is given its okay. So is there any objection from this group for us putting it out there for people to look at?
May I make a comment with it? I'm wondering if procedurally, maybe we want to bring it to the Planning Commission first.
I don't know.
Make sure they have no issues, make sure they endorse and support what we're advocating, and then we can take it up.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
guess a good idea.
Send it over to the planning commission.
I've sent it over to
Right?
them before
And
this,
then-
yeah.
Yeah, and then, I know they've got their hearing on the 28th. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be at that one, but it can also be, let's hear what the comments are on the August 28th meeting, and then if there's any adjustments we need to make to the Main Street program, we can do that. After that, we can send it over to the planning commission and then not send it out until they see it. Because again, this is just, this isn't action, this isn't requiring money, this isn't requiring any decisions, it's awareness in the community to make sure they can see what's happening. So,
Correct.
good suggestion. All right, so we'll move forward with incorporating any comments from the August 28th hearing, the planning commission. After that, you can send it over to, I guess, Stuart, and then he can get it to the commission for their next meeting. Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Great suggestion. So
Sure.
thank you for all your work on that, Bob.
Sure, no problem. Comprehensive plan review, I already talked about that. The property review, we had the meeting with the board of supervisors, and they came up with a vote for us to work with the
Yeah,
planning
they tasked
commission
us.
to
I
go
saw
forward.
that in the recording.
So-
Thanks, Maurice.
No worries.
So I just want
You
to
know I was
know,
leading it.
what is the pleasure of the commissioners on how we need to proceed, or there any action items you need for me to take upon that? One of the things I was looking at is I mentioned to you how I was coming up with some criteria for determining what's the best use for the different areas. I just about have all the definitions completed for those, the evaluation criteria and how we would go about doing that. Perhaps in the next meeting, yes.
That's for, because the action that they gave us was not to assess how to use the properties, right? So what you're saying is the criteria, the matrix for us to look at a property to see if it should be sold or kept.
Correct,
Okay, so you'd like us to look at that?
correct.
Okay, the action that we got from the Board of Supervisors was to look at properties to see whether or not they should be separated. That was your comment, right? So your matrix is not going to work for that. Maurice, you're going to have to give us an idea of what you were thinking for that. So let's close out your action, which is if you can put your matrix up on our shared drive where we can each comment on it. If everyone can comment on it by our next EDC meeting, we can then look at that matrix, and that will be the matrix that we propose using forward to say whether or not we sell a property or keep it. That closes out at least that action. Okay, the task that they gave us was to assess whether some of the properties that are currently being considered for sale should be split up. And Maurice, I'm going to turn it over to you because you're the one that had the suggestion on.
So there was the spreadsheet that Stuart sent out, and Stuart said, you know, he was just throwing out possibilities. He wasn't giving any justification for suggest selling or whatever. And I was like, that doesn't seem like anybody's really looked at it. And for example, the property over there, for the poorhouse, you could sell it as one lump and maybe get 70 or 80 grand for it. I'm just making up numbers. Or you could go out and get a grant and do a layout and get it planned and see about selling it either piecemeal or to a developer or whatever to get something in here. Now, there's grants for these things. USDA is, for us, USDA is the most valuable non-state related resource, and they actually do some of these things. To say there needs to be an evaluation. For example, if you say, it would be good to know why, and if you say thumbs up, it would be good to know why you say that. So that's
Thumbs up or thumbs down to what question?
sell it or not.
No, that's the matrix he came up with. The Board of Supervisors didn't task us with making a decision on whether to sell or not. What they tasked us was, based on your recommendation, to do a study about whether or not properties are going to be sold, should be sold in their entirety or split up.
Yes. Okay.
So that's a
there's
different
the two
question.
there's the two
Yeah.
properties that come to my mind most readily, and again, the poorhouse is one of them.
No, the poorhouse, they didn't decide to sell that one. That one was going to be developed into stuff.
You're getting ahead of me.
Right, but
They didn't decide to sell that, but it's the one that I was thinking about when I made my comment.
right, but that one's not on the table for your action. Right, that one's on the table for us to take a look at and put as, what would we do in there for public property for the county? The task that they gave us, unless I'm wrong, I looked
I'm
at
gonna
the,
go and review it because what you're saying doesn't really.
the task that they gave us at the last meeting, based on my review of the actual meeting, was to go and take a look at the properties that, not the current properties that are for sale, but ones that are potentially up for sale, to see if they should be sold in their entirety or split up. That was what the task was.
I'll have to review it.
Right, so we've got the matrix that Bob's put together to take a look at some of the things on Stewart's list about should they be sold, yes or no, right? The poorhouse tract we were given as, my understanding of this is, we were given the poorhouse tract as, we need to look at developing it into parks or some kind of property for the county. That one was not up for sale. So the task, again, you guys look at this and correct me if I'm wrong, the task that we got from the board was, if there's properties up for sale, should they be sold in their entirety or split up?
Valid question.
That was
I don't quite
based on
remember
your-
it exactly like that, but.
Go ahead and take a look at the court, because that was, your question to them was, wait, maybe we shouldn't sell this
Well,
in
yeah,
its entirety,
that was,
let's split it up.
it was part of my larger discussion of, you can sell it as one big massively
Right.
huge chunk,
Right,
or you can plan it better and
Sell it off the
subdivide it
pieces.
and
Right.
sell off the
and
pieces.
Mr. Brand made a motion to do exactly that. That the planning commission and the EDC needed to study whether or not to sell the properties entirely or split them up. So my question is, I don't know how we would go about doing that. None of us have real estate experience. I don't know, okay, so you can do that.
Yeah.
You raise your hand. All
I
right,
used to
great.
be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Good.
Me too.
Okay, then you guys
Many
got,
moons ago.
Yeah.
you guys can lead the effort on, of the properties that are on Stuart's list that haven't yet been decided to sell or keep. Whatever whatever you guys would like to do and bring to us about which ones, and then of course we'll work with the planning commission. Because my impression of that last meeting was that they weren't gonna take any action until we hit any more on properties, until the planning commission, the EDC had studied that. Am I wrong?
I'll take a look at the video again, because I think there was one other task, implied task, and I think it's short term, short being maybe by the end of the year, is I think they identified 2, maybe 3 properties that they said sell. Either contact the neighboring lot owners to see if they're interested in buying it, and then sell it if they don't want it, and then, or just sell it.
Right, but that wasn't a task for the EDC.
That's not, that's what you see, but it's
Right.
something that I believe the planning commission is working.
Somebody's working on it. But
Yeah.
that I didn't take as an EDC task. Okay, good. So you
I
guys have the lead on this, breaking it up. Perfect.
Did
Thank
you
you.
have anything else, Drew, that we're missing?
No.
No.
That's what my recollection was.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. All right, so Robert, then it was after properties. You were
Yes.
doing something else. Okay.
Yes, so, had outreach from a citizen who saw an article in Rappahannock News about pickleball and tennis court sites being set up in Lancaster County. She reached out and said, hey, what do I need to do to get this happening here? We invited her to the Board of Supervisors meeting. She went to the meeting, and the Board of Supervisors loved the idea. She has also identified that she'd be happy to help do this work. I did some research and I spoke with John Bateman from Lancaster County, and he's working with Indian Creek Yacht and Country Club because the tennis pro is the one who's heading the effort over in Lancaster County. And they're setting up 6 tennis courts, 6 pickleball courts, and they're doing this under a new organization they call the Northern Neck Racket Association. So the thought that John and I had was, well, let's put this under the auspices of Northern Neck Racket Association. She'll start attending those meetings and adhere to their bylaws, and she's a Northumberland County representative, and that she'll be able to inform us of the types of things or requirements that they're looking at, and I'll work with John Bateman to see what type of grants or things like that are available for them to apply for.
And that's
Loving
something
this
we
part.
could do with some of this property as well, correct?
Right. So that would
Potentially,
be something-
Exactly.
As we start looking at the poorhouse tract, it might be something that we
Yes.
could do, and I know,
A number of things. too.
so,
Yeah.
right.
So, yeah, Lancaster is pretty, they're pretty well established. They've got some grants already secured, I believe. They got pricing already done to some of these. So we're she's gonna be picking up.
They've got
Get
property too,
information.
because they planned this on the space that the new
Yes.
high school's going, so
That's
they've already
correct.
got property.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And then finally, I have it there, I gave it to you, Dan, and that's your copy to keep, but if you could pass it around, no, not that, there's a presentation
Oh, I've got that.
that Karen and I did for the Board of Supervisors, EDC 2025.
Which I'm sure
presentation.
everyone's already looked at, because it was in public meeting.
Yeah, it's in the public meeting, also posted on a shared drive, so you look at it, but we gave a rundown of what we accomplished in 2025, and I feel it's pretty well received.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
I'm good.
He's got nothing.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna go through current projects. We do have a few. So in addition to the Main Street program, we also have the Northern Neck 250. So if you guys can please take a look and put any comments, make sure you put all your comments into the NNK 250 document. We're a little bit, maybe, as Bob had said, behind the curve on that one. So if we want to get engaged, we have to move fast on that. And with respect to Bob's time, I'm going to go through a few things that we're trying to prioritize with that. And NNK 250 is one of them. So the poorhouse tract, Maurice, I'm going to want to get with you to try to understand what kind of grants you could say we can have for planning, because I would like to move forward on what that might look like in terms of a recreation addition for the county. And we can start, there's no reason for us not to start looking at grants to do some of that planning, to try to get somebody in here to look at that for us. So if there are grants that might be feasible, I'm gonna, unless anyone objects, I'm gonna go ahead and take the lead on trying to pull that together so that we can get moving on that, because that's been talked about for a little bit. The next Career Expo, Bob, I'm gonna leave, with whatever's going on with the school in terms of if they're planning on doing something. I don't think they're planning on doing anything this fall, but if you can catch up
I'll
with
reach
them.
out to them, yeah.
Yeah, to see, because we were gonna do 2 a year, one was gonna be in the fall, and it was gonna focus on career, and then the one in the summer was gonna focus, in spring, focus on, more immediate jobs. And so I'd like to understand what they've got going on for career planning, so that we've talked about getting the kids in the elementary school and the younger, kind of grades introduced. So if you could reach out and find out what's going on with that.
Will do.
Mr. McKenzie announced at the last Board of Supervisors meeting that they plan to have the digital map for the zoning rolled out at the end of September. So that's going to be great. We can start putting that out on the website and we can adjust the business document that we put together for the Heritage Expo, so we can put a link to that. Hopefully we'll be able to attract some more interest in the county. I'm not sure exactly how to look at the stats for that, but I'd love to figure out, Bob, if you could take a lead with the county to see if we start putting out like that website, how many hits it gets. And I'm gonna look at that as kind of an engagement of interest and people potentially developing here in Northumberland County for businesses. So that's gonna be, I think that's gonna be really great to finally have that up. Even though it's the unofficial one, you don't have to go down to the county courthouse to get it. You can go look at it. So we made some contacts at the Business and Heritage Expo that I'm gonna try to follow up with. We had some good contacts for people that had ideas about maybe potential veterans hiring and business mentoring, so I want to try to see, I just have to get on that. And then also I'd like to start planning for the next Business and Heritage Expo. I know it's like June's a long ways away, but I think it's better for us to start planning earlier because we want to get a little bit more business participation in that. We also, in terms of data, I think we're looking through the discovery sessions to see what action items we took from some of those. I still have in my mind when they talked about branding the crabs and oysters, right? There's still some things there. I'm also starting to look through some data on sales. I want to see what the sales tax change in the county has been, because if it's true that there's been a drop in tourism or people coming here for the weekends, then that will be reflected in the sales tax. And so I haven't seen that in the data, but that doesn't mean it's not there. I haven't done a full analysis yet. So I'm going to go back probably for 4 or 5 years to see what, if any, change there has been in sales tax receipts, because that's an indicator of people coming into the county. And then we have done the analysis of, we got from the Commissioner of Revenue the business owners listing, and we also looked at the employers listing. There's a difference in the lines in the data, but when you actually compare the data, it looks like there might be about the same number of businesses in the county, which I'm not sure exactly how accurate everything is, because I know there's been a couple new businesses that have stepped into the county, even though we have some that may be in the process of being sold or haven't opened. We still have had a couple that have come in that aren't reflected in the figures. So it's either a net zero change or a net 1 or 2 positive change. But again, that's why I want to look at the sales tax, because that's an independent figure that's maintained by the state.
Okay, well, let me just throw this out there, and I'm asking the question because you really, of all of us, have the more expertise on connecting the dots with data. It would seem to me that it would be a useful analysis if we could get, I guess, Philip Marston with zoning administration. Obviously, they have to do an annual inspection on the Airbnbs. Every Airbnb has to get a CU from the county. It's required. The people have to pay a $500 fee, and they have to pay a 2% tax on their gross sales, or rentals. It would seem to me that a good data point to link into all that would be is to find out, one, how many registered Airbnbs do we now have? Because we're on second year now that they required it, because they established that right when you were coming off the board. And because I think that is a critical data point to find out.
Bob, can you just ask for those data? And then, because we'd also want the hotel occupancy rates, and I'm not sure how to get those other than the sales tax.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to ask for the listing of the Airbnbs,
And
sorry, not Airbnbs, the short-term rentals.
Because I asked, and this is just another potential there, I informally asked about how that tax was trackable, how, within the county budget.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's not, but it's because of upstream.
Okay, so the question is, can we get a listing of, this is the first full year that's been in play, the number of short-term rentals that are registered with the county, and if there are any data on the revenue from those short-term rentals to the county. That's it. Simple question.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
Good.
That should, I don't know if that will duplicate, that's not a sales tax. It's a county tax. So,
The only other measurable part of that, which should be a very easy thing, because I'm sure that if statutorily they have to do a fire inspection on, because they put that in the legislation. So it's really been a year and a half. She's right, full calendar year. But what I'm thinking is that since they have to do an annual, someone's doing the annual inspections on them, we're supposed to be.
I'll leave that to.
Yeah, because I think that from when it was initiated until the second calendar year, that's going to tell you if people have come in or dropped out of the program.
Well, we won't know if it's dropped out because this is going to be the first full year in the data.
Right.
Right. So this is our baseline.
Right.
That's fine. This is our baseline.
Yeah.
Right. So our baseline data will be this year, and then we can do that comparison every year. Thank you.
Yeah, good point. It's a very good point.
What's your source of data that you were using to get sales data?
I'm going to use the sales tax that the state submits to the county. Right.
Okay.
They give us so every the school gets a portion. I don't know if and you might know this. When the sales tax comes into the county, it comes to the treasurer's office, right? So if I should only look at the data from the county, not the county and the school, because that would be a duplicate, correct?
Thank you, yes.
Okay, so then, well, if you know this, you can do the analysis. I can leave that one to you, Maurice. You wanna do it? No?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's just a matter of going back and looking at, every county budget and the sales tax that comes in. Because if I've got questions, I don't wanna do it wrong, and so that's why you're nodding your head, so I wanna make sure that
So, yeah, that's relatively easy question to answer if you can get all the years.
you can, they're all
Yeah,
public,
they're all
it's all
easy.
public.
Yeah.
All the budgets for the county are public.
Mhm.
Okay, so, and if we go back 5 years, then I think it'll be, the problem is we go back 5 years, we hit 2020, I think there are gonna be some anomalies in 21 and 22 because of, all people in for COVID. At the same time, it's still, if we go back, maybe, if you wanna do 20 to 25, I can do like 17 to 20, and then we can kind of see, what the
Not only
data.
that, but I can make sure by looking at yours if I'm doing it right.
Well, I had questions and you were nodding your head, so I thought you knew better than I.
yeah.
That's all. I mean, I'm happy to do it. I'm not trying to point out the work. I just, if I had questions, I didn't want it to mess up how I'm looking at the data.
One of the things I observed, and it may be the data I was looking at, but that it goes, the earliest or the most recent data we have goes to 2023. I don't see any 2024, 2025 data. And that's data that
No,
I found.
it'll be the sales tax?
No, not the sales tax
Oh.
data, but just in general, like rentals and tourism and things like that coming into the county.
Well, that's why I'm not gonna use those data.
Yeah.
Right? Because A, they lag a little bit, and B, I'm not sure, like, I wanna focus on the sales tax that we get from the state, because that's collected, right? That's gotta be collected. So that's gonna be a discrete number, and that's gonna be in every budget because it's audited at the end of every year. So that's gonna be a solid number that we're gonna be able to use. The rentals, the short-term rentals, the only data we're gonna have, starting last year as our baseline, is gonna be what the county collects. That's it. So the other tourism numbers, I know when we had those folks here, we were asking them, how is that calculated? They did a few things here and they did a few things there. I don't understand those data well enough to know if I'm comparing apples to apples every year. So that's why I want to use data that we know is discrete and also can be checked, right? So if we go any public with any of this, once we go public with this information, if anybody out there has an inkling to look at the data, they can absolutely do the same thing we did and come up with the same thing.
So, is that gonna paint a complete picture? And where I'm going with that is that there's people that come here and they pay rent and then the property owner pays the taxes on it, but those people also spend money when they're here.
Yeah, well, they'll
Right, so
capture the
how
sales tax data. If they buy anything in this county, it's
What
got
kind of
sales tax.
granularity do you think we can get out of
I
that?
don't care, I'm looking at whole numbers.
Okay,
I'm looking at whole numbers. Have we had, now, if the sales tax has stayed relatively the same, any change in the sales tax will reflect change in people
Sure,
spending money.
spending money, especially
It will
during peak
not
months.
reflect if that was spent by a
visitors.
resident or a visitor,
Right.
right? It will
And
still
that's what-
reflect the change,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, no, if you want that, then you gotta get the credit card addresses, which is what the folks at the Tourism Bureau do. I'm only looking at whole numbers for, have we seen a change in the sales tax? If there's been no change, now the cigarette tax is a little bit different, I'm gonna exclude that, because that's not a sales tax, that's an additional. So again, this is a starting point for the data to see if there's something there
Yeah,
when we
that makes
say,
sense.
there's been a decrease. And it also is a reflection of, since we're not sure if there's been a change in businesses, if there's an increase in sales tax, either there are more sales or more businesses. We're just not sure, right? So again, I just want to get a directional indication, and then we can take a
I
look
get
to
it.
see if we want to dig
You're
deeper.
factoring inflation into that?
No, I will have to look at the CPI and do the adjustment for that, because otherwise it will.
Oh, that's a good, cool, that's a good.
Otherwise, as things have gone up, obviously the sales tax
Right.
would have gone up if the percentage just stayed the same.
Sure.
So I have to do, I'll have to do a factor for, we'll have to adjust the older years for
Changes in
inflation, which is
CPI.
roughly, it's been running roughly around, well, it was a little higher, but for the past 5 years, it's been, if you average it out, it's about 3.1, 3.4. So yes, I will do an adjustment for that. Yep. Okay. And let's see, so, the other thing is, so as you guys know, Bob has a grand total of 40 hours a month to work on all our projects. we have a hefty load of projects, and so I've been gonna be sitting down with Bob and kind of going on a weekly basis to figure out where the hours are. I'm gonna try to alleviate him of a lot of admin burden, because he spends a lot of time in process-focused activity and not outcome-focused activity. We've got the Main Street program, we've got the Northern Neck 250, we've got the property stuff, we've got, the poorhouse track, we've got the career expos. We have a lot of projects that have the potential to do a lot of things for the county, but they're not all gonna get done if we're trying to do everything all at once.
It's impossible.
We've got the
So we
list
need
of
to rack
things.
stack.
That's what we're doing. So we've got a list of things that the Planning Commission is putting in, which is fine, because if you take a look at the presentation that Bob did, he looked at the Planning Commission list and kind of prioritized some of the things. So we're not off base, thank you, Maurice, with where the Planning Commission's going. That's all kind of baked in. And the priorities that we're focused on have been a lot of things we've been talking about with our strategic action plan. So I know at the last meeting, you guys talked a lot about, septic and some other things. I don't know how those are going to fit in. So what I'll be looking for is, like, I'm taking the lead in the poorhouse track. Maurice, you're going to take the lead. Maurice, you and Melissa are going to take the lead in figuring out what to sell or not sell. We're probably going to have to become, if you will, a little bit more of an active commissioner board rather than an advisory commissioner board, only because there's only so much time
There's a lot of work to do.
that
Yeah.
Robert has. There's a lot of things to be done. And again, if we just focus on, the 5 things that we've outlined, that's still a lot of activity. So what are your thoughts, around that whole conversation?
I think you need to add the cherry on top of that icing and call it maybe some work sessions intermixed
To do what?
to be aligned.
With what?
Just, it makes my brain freeze.
I know, but I want discrete actions, all right? Like, we don't have, I'm not objecting to work sessions. I don't want to sit around gab.
Right.
I'm
I
tracking
want
with
technical
that.
outcomes.
Got it. But until we actually start moving, I won't have any grasp of, are we too far left, too far right?
No, so you're moving on the property project. I'm gonna move on the poorhouse project. Bob's gonna move on we're all moving on the comments. So with respect to getting together, I don't necessarily see a need to have a work session between now and our next meeting.
No, no,
Oh, no,
no.
Okay,
I won't be here for that one.
Yes.
Will we have enough for formal next week?
If you show up.
As long as I don't have another diabetic emergency.
well, we'll find out. I mean, we'll find out when we get there. If we don't, then Melissa and I will have an informal meeting. We can't have a public meeting without quorum.
Right.
So, if not, then we'll have a work session. But Drew, can you check to see, I believe work sessions have to be announced in public, if I'm not mistaken. Anytime that there's a quorum, we have to make an announcement. So if we're going to plan work sessions, then we will have to announce them and host them. But can you confirm? Yes, just like we did that. But at that point, we didn't have anything streamed. We just had, it was invitation, people could come, but, and there's no requirement for us to stream it as long as it's open. Okay, so is there anything in the current projects that you guys think I missed?
No.
No.
Well, you talked about a lot of stuff the last meeting too. I watched the recording, but I want to make sure that there's nothing on your minds that, for the current projects that I missed.
No.
Because we've got a boatload of stuff ahead of us. Again, I think it's exciting, because we've got, some traction we have made. I'm just tickled to death of what the partnership with the Indian Creek Yacht Club and the Golf Association did. The first Business and Heritage Expo, right? We made some great contacts there. The fact that we've got all the kids at the high school, with the businesses that we had, the partnership with Bay Consortium, the partnership with VTOPS, we've got a lot of partnerships that we're moving along. So hopefully we'll, push a little. We're still trying to get some data out of the chamber on the number of visitors to the county. So Bob's still trying to capture that. And little by little. And also, I just want to let you guys know that, so in January, it'll be 2 years that I've been in the chair seat. So I like to make sure everyone has an opportunity to lead this group and not me take up all the oxygen. So if people want to start thinking about what they want to do in January, if they want to have a change in leadership, don't answer it now.
I'd like to nominate you now.
No,
as the chair.
no, because I'm sensitive to the fact that everyone needs to have a a chance to lead and just think about it between now and then, particularly if I'm not moving in the direction. I mean, you guys aren't shy. If I'm not moving in the direction you want to move as a group, you're going to tell me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not worried about that.
You're doing an outstanding job, and
So,
I don't
Very
think
fortunate to have
anybody could replace you.
Yeah.
oh, yes, they can.
No,
Okay.
no.
All right, so that covers existing business. Well, shoo. New business.
It's only because whoever put this here, thank you, because it actually is a mind jogger. I had a business owner approach me with a handful of these and said, "Are these legitimate?" And I said, "I don't know, I'll check."
Yeah, they are. At the bottom, it says it's not the board of supervisors.
No, I realize that. Is it I guess he was concerned that it was a scam. That was, I
I
mean,
don't know.
It's,
I don't know. It's not sponsored by us, and I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna run down whether it's a scam.
no, I realize that, because he did, the only thing he mentioned to me, he said I did some sort of preliminary check, and it's based out of Richmond somewhere.
Right, it's on there, Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on there.
Yeah.
So I
The website's
suspect
run
it's
out of Arizona.
probably, some kind of,
So as far as if we get any more questions, then look. we're
direct them
gonna-
to the website of the county. They've got a statement posted that says
Oh,
it's
okay.
out there.
It's not a county sanctioned
It's
service.
not-
Okay, good.
This is the second time it's come around.
Thank you,
Yeah.
whoever brought that.
Yep. Okay, so Melissa, any new business, anything?
No, not at all. I'm just taking my notes right now because I'm already over the poorhouse track and the tennis and things of that nature. It's just excited, so I'm
It
just,
is, isn't it? And if
Yeah.
we've got somebody to lead it,
yeah.
right? She's gonna participate in all the stuff that's
Mhm.
going on. in,
Yeah.
Over in Lancaster County, that's
Mhm.
great, right? So we can have that connection there.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of energy at the Board of Supervisors meeting, so I'm really optimistic.
Is there, just as a different topic, just but under new business, is there any movement on the replacement commissioner for the Lotsburg district?
It's been asked.
Hmm.
That's
But
Mr.
nothing.
Haney's district.
Okay,
All we can do is ask.
okay.
I'm not aware of if anyone knows anyone that might be interested. So I'm not aware of any.
We provide that in our monthly report too, saying we need a district rep.
I miss Lynn. I think she was very, very good.
She
for
was
the group.
active and good, yeah. Hi, Lynn, we miss you. You're still around. Anything else new that we need to think about before September? No? Okay, and we don't have any citizens here for,
There's nobody online either.
engagement, so. Whew. All right, any last call for anything? Otherwise, we can,
I
I
think,
can't see.
as we work through this real estate thing, and where grants are involved, we need to have an understanding of what it is we're gonna say on an application for planning, an application for actual funding, how that's gonna be framed up. So when we're doing the work, all I'm saying is that we need to keep those points in mind so that we can have those questions ready and answered when the time comes.
Right. So if we're doing a strategic plan, up front, we will have that information.
Right, so my task with the poorhouse tract is to come up with a proposal.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right, and it's gonna be a proposal to study what it would be.
Mhm.
Right, got it. Your job with the selling parts or wholes is the same thing. So if there is examples, like if you have grant applications that you think might be like in this space, I'm happy to take anything you have and then make sure that whatever I start to develop encompasses all those questions. I have a general idea of what the questions might be, and, depending on, the other thing we have to factor in is any grants that we come in are gonna require, particularly if they're federal grants, they require.
Matching.
No, they don't always require matching, they require reporting. Any federal grant requires a certain number, a
Yes.
certain amount of reporting. And I'm intimately familiar with that reporting, and
Are you?
it will be, in some cases, a chore because there's not county employees laying around that can do the reporting. And so we will have to check to make sure that we've got the right layer of responsibility. So Bob's an independent contractor, I guess is the right word for it, right?
Right.
So depending on the grant and the reporting that needs to be done, in some cases it can be, but it still needs to be signed off by a county employee. So We're gonna have to think through all that stuff when it comes down to what we're applying for, because that may be a limiting factor in how many projects we can tackle at once.
Another point to consider is that right now, as far as I'm aware, we don't have a relationship with, say, a 501c3 of any stripe. And from what I see out there looking at grant land, for municipalities or jurisdictions, it would be useful to have such a relationship. And
Why don't we have, we've got several different 501c3s we could tap.
I preface that with as far as I'm aware of. Do we have?
Well, we've got like, in your organization, in your district, we've got like the folks working on maybe those two
things that we just
projects.
talked about.
We've got the Callio Hometown District.
Right.
I'm not sure in my district who we have, but I know there's a couple churches there that have done some work, right? So I would
A
say,
friend of mine is working on that also,
working on what?
getting a 501c3 going.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Well, I'm also sensitive to any conflicts of interest, so we have to make sure that it's
Right.
clean enough that it's not just people,
Yeah,
So
so
I mean,
nothing
that
is,
would be something we would probably put out and say, hey, look, we want to do this, like the Main Street program, right? If that requires a 501c3,
It does.
then when we put it out for comment, you say, hey, are there any groups around that would like to partner on this?
I think what I'm seeing out there is that there's things we can do as a county. And that is also a subset of the things that we can do if we have a relationship with the right kind of charitable organization. 501c3 gets mentioned the most. So I think we need to foster those relationships if we can.
Go forth and do good,
Oh, she
Right.
loves me. She
right?
loves me.
Well, no, when we put the plan together,
Well,
it's gonna go off and done.
if we're piggybacking on what Lancaster is doing, I thought they had, an organization that's already been established.
For the pickleball stuff, yeah,
Right.
Specifically for the
Right.
pickleball.
Right,
right.
Yeah,
they
so
can-
that's gonna be in their
yeah.
documents, so
right.
whatever their charter is and their bylaws, then that's what they're
Yeah.
stuck with.
Right, so that's for that, and then when I get, like, for the poorhouse track, when I come to you guys and say, this is what we'd like, I think when we go out for public input, and we say, is anybody who wants to partner on this? I mean, that's how we're gonna find out if there's interest out there, and if there's not, then we have to figure out how to manage it. But I suspect that there's gonna be people out there that wanna participate,
I would hope.
yeah. So, yep,
That was wonderful the other night, listening to that lady, boy, she's a firecracker, talking about the pickleball courts and that.
Yeah, and I think we put her on the right track. She's on the right track with that. The Northern Neck Racket Association sounds pretty cool.
It does.
I can see inter-Northern Neck County competitions going from there.
And the question comes to my mind is there any hope that other adjunct type economic capabilities could come along with that? Because we're gonna be changing, well, it's gonna take parking, it's gonna take a road to get there, maybe.
we don't know that,
We don't, but
we don't know yet what the possibilities are, because we don't know where it's gonna be.
right.
Yeah, so let's let her do her thing. And then Bob, I mean, I don't think we need a discovery session on it, but if we can get an update from her as she's making progress on this, and then you can kind of see,
And in the meantime, we can do a strategic plan and.
in the meantime, we're gonna move
We
forward with
already-
this stuff.
So with respect to that, one of the things I would like to do is, once the comprehensive plan has been released at the public hearing, and we've been able to update the Main Street theme plan, if you'd like me to, I could take a swipe at the strategic plan too,
So,
based on,
but we still have our other one, we said, right, so let's take a look at what we did there. And yes, it's time to update for real, now the comprehensive plan will be done.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, I know we have these meetings, but I wouldn't object to a public hearing at all. I don't know if anyone would come. If anyone's out there and you're watching this or listening, send a comment to Bob to see if you'd like a public hearing as we start moving forward with this, because I'd like to, I mean, I know it was great that we had the opportunity to speak at the Board of Supervisors meeting, because people got to hear what's happening.
I don't see anything in mind.
Can I interject here? I mean, will we need a public hearing or just invite them in for the citizen engagement section?
Yeah.
Once we get
Right.
everything
We don't need
aligned.
a public hearing, but I'd like to have a forum, like, where we can get people's input on some of this stuff and have people come up and speak and say, think about this, what about this? I'd like to have them have something maybe to react to,
Mhm.
but
But are we gonna have everything in place, first as far as, our ideas, because it's just popping off of our heads
Right now, it's premature, right?
Right, exactly.
Because there won't be anything to react to.
Right.
But like when we get done with the Main Street program, right, we put that out there for public view and we say, we'd like to receive comments on this in citizen engagement at this date. And doing it online is tough. It's really hard sometimes to make sure that, but if that's the only way we can do it, then we can do it that way. And we can block off a certain amount of time in a meeting instead of a discovery session. We can do citizen engagement on the Main Street program, citizen engagement on NNK. Yeah, I like that idea. Thank you. Okay. All right, cool. So, anything else? What we missed? Lots going on. Good stuff. Lots going on. Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 6:45.
So moved.
Second?
We had a tie.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we stand adjourned at 6:45. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.